Manuel, if you're around, please.
Yes, please, I'm here.
Yes, please help us with the opening prayer. Thank you.
All right. Shall we say a word of prayer? Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for how far you brought us. We really appreciate your mercies, O God. We ask that you lead us through this program, and at the end, glory and honor shall be given unto you. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. DJ, can you give us one song, just one song, before we head up into the introduction of our various chapter president? DJ, just one song. Thank you. Hey, mama, hey, I ever say, shake your body, man, you're gonna. Cause, hey, mama, hey, I ever say, so where the party day today? Hey, mama, hey, I ever say, shake your body, man, you're gonna. Hey, mama, hey, I ever say, you make sad for no reason. Don't you know, say this be our season? Did the pray make a fall? Kai, you dreaming? Yeah, you make sad for no reason. Don't you know, say this be our season? Did the pray make a fall? Kai, you dreaming? Yeah, wusuna miyo. Don't you know, say God in control? Oh. Yeah. Nanke better na yo, yeah. Medasi. Why the party day today? Hey mama, hey, I ever say. Shake your body, man, you're gonna. Cause, hey mama, hey, I ever say. Yankee free crotia, na ye want JPM. Kaye Chessica, ya chenu, say I'm Bogampa, Yani, yeah, pay. The walk down my, they need a sponsor. I did Yansaya, the walk down my, they need a sponsor. I did Yansaya,
Frigid. Hey, my you, Fred Chelsea, you push him for Bridget. Drill it, we are Nampaya grill. Empty pocket, send a wash, and your bottom best feel it. Yeah, watch me don't come freckle. What them best I can't do,
DJ, thank you very much. DJ, thank you very much. And once again, you're all welcome, especially to those who just joined us. My name is Boama, and I will be your chief servant for today. I crave your indulgence to introduce some of the executives of the various chapters. I would start with the national president, which is our own sister, Irene Koko. That's our national president. And then we have our own ZHENGZHOU chapter's president, Lydia, Mrs. Lydia. And then we have Nanchang chapter, which is Mr. Issa Kulu. Pardon me for your names if the names are not mentioned clear. And then we have Hojo chapter to Manuel or Nana Kwesi Manuel. Thank you very much. So we quickly move on to our speaker, the introduction of our speaker, who happens to be a member. The speaker is a life coach and leadership or management consultant with over 10 years experience in helping organizations and individuals structure and grow. He's a certified John C. Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer. He's also a certified DEX human behavior analysis trainer and consultant. He works with many government and private institutions, as well as religious organizations and individuals in the areas of leadership development, team building, customer care, personal growth, public speaking, and education improvement. As a speaker, coach, and consultant, he has trained and spoken to tens of thousands of people, both young and old, across Ghana and beyond, through in-person workshops, conferences, seminars, radio, television, and virtual conference. His passion is to help connect people to their potential and cause transformation in their personal lives and in the lives of their organization. You can find more information about him at www.bismarktay.com. He's none other than our very own Mr. Bismark Tay. Before he speaks, I would also crave your indulgence that you all humbly mute your microphone as he speaks. If you have any questions, you can send the questions to the page. Then after he speaks, we have about 15 minutes to ask our questions and then he answers. Thank you very much. Our very own Mr. Bismark Tay, a very handsome man with Louis Vuitton shirt, dark in complexion. I think he's the I think he's the 6 o'clock PM type, right? Mr. Bismark, please take over.
Let me say good evening at your end to all of you. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. The dynamic MC, Bernard, did I get your name right?
Oh, Buama.
Buama, okay.
Yes, sir.
Buama, okay. So thank you once again. And I want to thank the leadership of NUGS, the whole of China, and especially the host university, ZHENGZHOU, if I get that right. It's a great privilege to be here. When your leaders got in touch with me about this program to share ideas with you on education, rethinking education in the era of COVID-19, I was excited and curious at the same time. Curious because if there is anybody to know more about COVID-19, I think it's you guys, because we all started hearing of COVID somewhere late 2019 into early 2020. I had to check on my friends and mentees that are studying in China to ask if they were safe with all the stories we're hearing. Little did we all know that it was going to be a global thing, and today we are here. So my curiosity is in getting to know from you as well what the impact has been on you and your studies. That has been my curiosity, a great opportunity, because I feel our world has come to a certain place and is going to a certain kind of place that we all have to do some rethinking, re-engineering of our mindset, of our attitude, to be able to meet what is coming in the future, because the world is not the same. And so it calls for, like the topic you gave me rightly said, rethinking, not new thinking, rethinking of what to do, and now especially on education. So it's a great privilege to be here, and I thank you for the opportunity. Let me share my screen with you. Okay. Are we good? So, Buama, Mr. MC, can you hear me?
Yes, we are good
Yes,
to go.
please.
You
Yes,
can
we're
see.
good.
Can you
Yes.
hear me? I
Yes,
can't
please.
hear anyone.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are good to go.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So COVID-19, as I mentioned earlier, it started from your side. Now it's with all of us in the world. The whole world is trying to move ahead now. We are trying to learn what we can. We are trying to adapt. We are trying to create. We are trying to be smart. We are trying to go a step above COVID-19. Everybody is trying. Some are trying to survive. Some are trying to see what opportunities the situation brings with it that they can take advantage of and become better. To every situation, good or bad, there is always a good and bad to every situation. I'm a Christian. To Judas Iscariot betraying Jesus Christ, there is a good in it, there is a bad in it. If he had not betrayed Jesus Christ, Jesus wouldn't have died and resurrected. COVID came. COVID came with some gloom, and it came with some glory. The gloom we will look at. I'll be asking you to give feedback on the chat as we move on. So the gloom COVID brought, as I have identified, the wearing of masks. To a lot of people, it's not a very comfortable thing. So here in Ghana, it's been a tug of war for some people, and the wearing of the mask has been very uncomfortable for people. But now we all have to live with it. So the wearing of masks, the discomfort it brings is one. Two is lockdowns, where you can't go out, you just have to stay in your room. And some of you on this call, you understand that more than I do, because you guys have gone through some of the longest lockdowns in the world. And the discomfort, the detachment, all of a sudden, the moving about and everything has to stop. You have to stay indoors throughout. Everything you need is, you order, it comes at your door. You have to wait for the person to leave and all of that. It wasn't pleasant. The little we experienced here in Ghana wasn't pleasant for me either. After 2 weeks indoors, going nowhere, it felt like I was in a cage. So when the lockdown was over, I had to just get out and drive through town to feel the breeze around. So lockdowns were not convenient with all of us. Then there's less physical social interaction. As Africans, we are used to meeting each other, chatting, handshakes, going out, going to church, going to social events, drink ups and all of that, going to class. With COVID, none of that was possible. Then quarantine. You are positive. 2 weeks isolation. And now I hear you guys to come to China now. The amount of money you spend on quarantine is even discouraging to want to come home and go back to school. So when you look at all the cost of coming back, you have to be quarantined for 2 or so weeks, and the cost, the discomfort, and all of that. It's not pleasant. Then emotional and psychological stress COVID has placed on all of us. 2020, personally, I went through some emotional and psychological anxiety, because I am a person who every year I really plan my life month to month to the whole of the year and follow that direction. So 2019, yes, I went through my end of year review and goal setting, and I was ready for 2022, only for me to sit at home watch the year pass. It wasn't a very comfortable thing for me to sit doing nothing and watch all the goals. Okay, so January, I said I'll do this. February, I said I'll do this. March, all the months were passing and you can't do anything. It comes with a lot of emotional and psychological stress. For you as students, you are used to going to class, coming back, and all of that. I am certain there would have been some emotional and psychological stress and anxiety that you've also experienced. And that's just one other gloom that COVID came with. Then we have break in supply chain, certain things that you need to get from health to manufacturing to whatever cosmetics. There were breaks in supply chain. So certain things that you get on time now, you don't get them on time. Shipping has been affected, everything. So those of you students who maybe you are running a business and it relies on this supply chain, there were issues. Those of you who need things from home to support yourself, there were breaks, and they all came with their challenges. Then economic effect, money, financial cost of things. Certain things went up, others went down. So COVID came with a lot of gloom. And this is this 7 are what I have listed. At this point, I would want you to go on the charts and share some of the glooms you have personally experienced along this COVID journey. And let me also learn from you, from your perspective and your experience in China, where we can say where all this starts from, although that's being contested. That's being contested. So for me, COVID came with gloom. Now let's look at some of the glories COVID came with. One is time with self. Before COVID-19, the world didn't know how to stay by themselves. People in the world, we didn't know how to spend time with ourselves, to be alone, to remove ourselves from the noise, to remove ourselves from the crowd, and just be by ourselves and listen to ourselves. COVID brought that opportunity. And in this opportunity of spending time with self, a lot of people discovered other things they didn't know they could do. People have multi-million businesses staying at home, just spending time with themselves and realizing I can't go out, I can't do what I used to do. How else can I be meaningful? What else am I good at? Even this platform, Zoom, you as students, I think you should be familiar with Zoom before COVID. But to a greater number of people, when you mention Zoom pre-COVID, people had no idea. If you ask people to have a conference like what we are doing now, we have an MC, we have a DJ, we have a speaker for this program. If you ask people before COVID to get on Zoom, what is it? They don't know. But time with self. And as a professional life coach, I know the significance of taking time and spending it with yourself alone. And it was a great opportunity COVID brought, and a lot of people benefited from it. I don't know for you personally here, whether there were some new skills you learned, new things you were able to do, new discoveries within 2020 and 2021. So if you have such experiences, you can just go on and let's see what your time with self brought you during COVID. I'm trying to read some of your comments, the chat. So let's see. Did you learn any new skills? Any new abilities? Maybe you started a new venture initiative during COVID. Let us hear about it. Then the other thing COVID brought is the push to be creative in solving our problems. This was a big lesson for Africa, especially our leaders. because we came to a point where every country, every nation was thinking about themselves. How do I protect my people? That was the mindset of leaders across the world. How do I protect my people? So the situation where Africa, we used to just stay and wait for people to do things and we just consume. Our leaders fell in a trap where they had to now get out and say, what do we do to save our people? Common hand sanitizers, we were getting them from outside, but we had to now quickly get to local industries to produce hand sanitizers, to produce face masks, to produce a lot of things. The same when we bring it from the governance level to personal level. Everybody was in a survival mode during COVID. When COVID was high, everybody was in survival mode. Everybody was trying, how do I survive? How do I take care of myself? How do I avoid getting infected? How do I protect my family, parents? How do I protect my siblings? How do I keep myself? So COVID brought with it a challenge that forced creativity out of us to survive. In psychology, we say, if survival is the only option you have, you will learn to survive. And that was what COVID brought with it. It was a glory. It was a good thing COVID brought, pushing a lot of us from our comfort zone. I see Ms. Lee saying that she learned more cooking skills and recipes during COVID. I see Ochri secretary saying she or he got to know about herself better. And Mary, I learned how to appreciate the little things, especially freedom. I like that, especially freedom. COVID brought a challenge and we responded through creativity. Those who didn't respond through creativity, you see there is a gap now. They are falling behind, and then the rest, the others who took the challenge and became creative, they are steps ahead. So it was a good thing that came with COVID. The third is removal of physical barriers and borders. Removal of barriers. Even internationally, barriers were broken down. We had G8 summits happening virtually. Even world leaders were attending meetings virtually. People could now move across countries without traveling, without passports, without visas, because COVID brought with it a situation where there was no use of physical barriers and borders. We all saw how one we were. We all saw how vulnerable we were. We all saw how we needed to support each other. So learning, for instance, education, instead of waking up, dressing up, and maybe joining a bus or a taxi for lectures, you are home and with your laptop or even your phone, you join classes and you are studying. The barriers of getting back on time, the barriers of going to the classroom, the barriers of even the expenditure in physically moving to the classroom, all those were removed by COVID. This program, for instance, if we had to do it in person, it means you are either flying me from Ghana to China to come and do this presentation, or you are flying to Ghana for me to speak to you on this. COVID has made Zoom normal, a part of life now. And this is a blessing COVID has brought. Then also reduce cost of doing certain things. Reduce cost of education. A lot of online programs, online masters, online first degrees, education, the cost of education has reduced because of COVID. Because when you look at tuition, you take tuition aside, all the expenditure you have to spend, you have to incur in educating yourself. If you can just be home, if you can just be somewhere and join online, fine. Certain places, those in the work environment, because of social distances, they had to split their staff into two. Some go to work 2 weeks, whilst others are home, working from home. They come to the office 2 weeks. There were some offices that were shut completely, and everybody had to work from home. So the cost of going to work, transportation, feeding, all of that, and coming back, that also reduced. And it was a good thing. Then we have a global acceptance of working from home. And for me, for you students and all of us youth, this is one of the greatest glory COVID has brought, where people saw that most of the things, employers especially saw that most of their staff who had to drive to the office, they could actually do what they do in the office from home. And so that acceptance of the concept of working from home, especially in Africa and throughout the world, although it was happening throughout the world, but now with COVID, everybody has tasted the concept of working from home, and the systems have been built in place to aid working from home. And that is a huge blessing for young people, because it brings with it numerous, countless opportunities where you can be doing so many jobs at the same time from where you are without incurring costs of physically moving. Because if you are working for me, you are in my office, you can't use my Wi-Fi to do another person's job. You can't be physically absent. Everything you do in my office space, my physical environment, would have to be towards my company. But if you are working from home, you have your laptop, you do this, you do that, you do that. It becomes easier. It becomes easier. So for the gloom and the glory of COVID, these are some of the things that we can look at. FSAs, I learned to do online business, learning more IT skills, that's great. Learn to respond to existing and new problems in innovative ways. So, like I said at the beginning, COVID came with gloom, bad and good. For the bad, we didn't ask for COVID. COVID came to meet us. How we respond, the opportunities we see, and how we take advantage of those opportunities will be our overall experience with COVID, whether we are better after COVID or we are still the same after COVID. Now, let's look at the lessons to learn from COVID for education. For education, one lesson is that your certificate is not enough to make you to get you to succeed. Your certificate is not enough. I sit on a lot of interview panels to hire people. Sometimes you see 2 people with first class. When you have 2 people with first class, it means 2 people with first class applying for the same job. It means you can't give the job to the 2 of them, you need 1 person. You have to look beyond the certificate. What else do they have? What other skills? How versatile are they? How dynamic are they? And then you pick the most dynamic, the most versatile person for the job. People are learning online marketing, online sales. People are learning graphic design, have learned graphic design from just staying by themselves during lockdown. What have you learned? All these small skills that you learn, they are adding to your value in the job market. So when you are writing your CV after school, seeking for a job, these added skills, these new skills that you have obtained, you need to add them. It adds weight, it adds value to you. your certificate is not enough. Almost everyone has found themselves something else. Everybody did something else. So if you focus only on your certificate, you will go in search of jobs and you realize that a lot of people have other things they have added to their job. And so your certificate becomes irrelevant. So your certificate is not enough for you to succeed. That's what COVID has taught us, that you need to develop other areas, your skill set, your talent. I'll come to that in a jiffy. Your certificate is not enough. 2, you can work many jobs from anywhere after school. You can work many jobs from anywhere. One of my mentees, he's a dietitian working full-time in a hospital. And then just about a few weeks ago, he got another job in the US. He starts work on his computer from 3 p.m. Ghana time to 11 p.m. Normally, his day job, full-time job here in Ghana, ends by 4. And he doesn't sleep until it is 11, 11:30. So his normal routine. Now, he's here, but he's employed in the US. So by 3, he logs on into his system and he starts working. And by 11, he's done. He has 2 jobs now, working from the same place. If he could do more, he can. And that's a lesson for all of us, because when your aim of education, I think everybody on this call, there is an aim for your education. What do you hope to use your certificate for? You want jobs. Now, jobs are everywhere. You can be here and be practicing. There is telemedicine, even in medicine. Still, you can work from remote locations, either than your office or place where your job is located. So that is another lesson. The job market also is now bigger and smaller. How is the job market bigger and smaller? For those who have added more value to themselves during COVID, although you are in school, you are studying your main program, but you are adding some other skills, the job market is very big now for you. You can go into so many other places. For those who didn't, your job market is small. So currently the job market is both big and small, depending on what you have added to yourself, what value you've added to yourself. If you've not added so much to yourself by learning other skills, exploring other talents and abilities in you, your job market is limited because there are few jobs that are available to you. Then 4, you don't need to study for a job. You study for the world. You don't study for a job. You study for the world. It's a mindset thing. If you are studying for a job, you have a picture, okay, this is my only job. Where? Here. And you are tailoring your mindset, your preparation for school, your studies, everything towards that single job. In today's world, post-COVID, in today's world, that is self-sabotaging because opportunities are opened to you now. You can do a lot of things. So if you are studying only for your job, you are limiting yourself. Study for the world. That, okay, so you are studying in China. Per the arrangement you have there, are you coming back home? If you are coming back home to work, your mindset should be that the world is now more global than before. And so whatever you are studying, don't restrict your thinking to the job and where you see yourself working that job. Open your mind. Learn about other cultures. learn about trendy job opportunities at other places, other parts of the world. And with the time you have at your disposal, try to pick some of these skills, some of this knowledge. You are preparing yourself to go into the world. So you may stay back in China to work or come back here or go elsewhere, but you will still be open to picking jobs and opportunities all over the world. That makes you a global person. So don't study for a job, study for the world. Then remove barriers to your imagination. COVID itself removed borders. In our imagination, what we imagine, what we think, mostly is what becomes of us. So pre-COVID, there were restrictions in even how we think, how we imagine, because our imaginations were shaped into our concept of the world and the things around us, that box. And so with COVID removing all those barriers, you need to remove those barriers in your own mind, in your imagination, and allow your mind to go borderless and imagine and create a future for you that is not border restricted, that is not, okay, this can't be done because I am here. This can't be done because I am here. This can't be done because I am here. No. If you don't remove those barriers in your mind, you can't imagine. You can't imagine. For instance, if your side, my side, we didn't believe having this program on Zoom effectively, if we didn't imagine it will be possible, there will be no way this will be created. Let me go back and use the example of my mentee that works here in Ghana and in the US. If he didn't imagine that, okay, it's possible for me to work from here in the US, he wouldn't have even applied for the job, passed the interview, and then get the job in the first place. So your imagination is key. As you are studying, as you are planning for your professional life, to go into the job market, what do you see about yourself? Where do you see yourself going in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, or the next 5 or 10 years after your education? What do you see as possible, your potential? What do you see as a life you can create? Inventions, innovations. What do you see possible? The barriers to our achievement are success, our accomplishment, they are the barriers we hold in our mind. So when you remove those barriers, you even approach education in freedom. You approach your studies. You approach your studies, your education with an open mind. Even what the lecturer is teaching, you can step them up in other environments, in other situations. And so inside your head, you are even studying more beyond what the lecturer or the course structure is. That's what I meant by removing the barrier. Then also, you in China, you the student, a lot of people will come after you. So you have a responsibility to prepare your brothers, sisters, or friends, people who would want to also come and experience the education you are experiencing in China. Because one thing COVID taught us is we are all one. What affects somebody here will affect the other end of the world. So when we take charge to help our colleagues, people coming, the experiences you've had, how you were able to adapt, how you were able to, in Ghanaian language, manage the situation, it's good. It will be good to help prepare those who are coming after you so that when they come, how challenging the situation was for you, because COVID happened to you whilst you are there. they have some experience before coming. So it becomes necessary for you to help them. Then check on each other. As much as possible, keep some physical contact with friends and colleagues. So as you are there, social media is very deceptive. You'll see posts on people's WhatsApp, they are all lively, and then the next moment you hear there was suicide. The next day you see them and they are so depressed. Checking on people virtually is not enough. By text, sometimes pick your phone and call and listen to a person's voice. There are some things that cannot be hidden in a person's voice. And as much as is possible, where you are the restriction, as much as is possible, still keep some physical contact with friends and colleagues. It's important. In the classroom, your studies, some people may be struggling. Keep an eye. COVID is not out, so the emotional, the physical stress is still not over. So some people, they are still having the effects of COVID on their academic performance. So reach a hand to each other, help each other to grow, help each other to survive during the crisis in which we all find ourselves. I hope we are learning something. You can share your thoughts with me on the chat, and let me see what other lessons you have learned. Are we good with that? Now, post-COVID, away from education, post-COVID, what you need to survive. And my focus here will mainly be your life after school. What you need to survive post-COVID. There are two things, just two things: self-awareness and situational intelligence. To survive post-COVID, self-awareness, situational intelligence. From your time in school now to when you have finished school and you are on your jobs, self-awareness, situational intelligence. Let me take them one by one. Self-awareness answers the question, who are you? Who are you? So I have some few questions to ask you. But before asking you those questions, why should you know who you are? Neil Donald Walsh says, if you fail to go within, you'll go without. You live your life inside your body. I, here, Bismark Tay, everything I am in the world is inside this body you can see right now. Everything I create, everything I say, it's coming from here. Everything I will be in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years will come from this body. You as well. Your final GPA, or how you will call it, your thesis, your success, what becomes of your education in school, everything is from the body that is listening to me right now. The work you will do, how successful you will be in your work, the businesses you run, the initiatives, if it's a foundation you want to set up, if there are innovations, inventions you want to do, everything will come from you listening to me now. And you can only know who you are by going inside yourself to reveal what is existing, to bring it out. This is why Neil says, if you fail to go within, you will go without. If you fail to go inside of yourself, you will live without knowing who you are. And for me, the greatest tragedy we can ever bring down on ourselves is not knowing who we are. Also, Carl Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. There are so many things. Every day there is something about you you are not aware of every day, every time, even as I am here. Which is why in coaching, we use the Johari's window. You can just Google that, and after this session, you can quickly use the tool. I'll show you how. The Johari window is a 4-part tool that we use to look at your public self, what you know about yourself that is known to others, your blind spot, what is known to others that is not known to you, your private self, what is known to you that is not known to others, and then the unknown self, the part of you that is not known to you and that which is not known to others. There are certain things that control our lives, that make us do certain things, and we don't even know that the existence of this thing. So we are acting, and there is a science or there is a reason behind our actions, but we don't know that reason. And so we throw everything to fate and we just leave things like that. It's extremely important to get to know who you are. Extremely important. Question: who are you? Why are you here? What are you doing here? Where are you going? These are questions that everybody needs to be pondering about. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing on earth? What am I doing here? Where am I going? Kwame Nkrumah has come and left Ghana, but he's still existing. He's gone somewhere. We don't know exactly where he's gone to, but in our mind, Kwame Nkrumah has come to live in the minds of every Ghanaian child that is born. So he's gone, but he's here. Where did he die to? He died into the heart and minds of the future. Where are you also going to go? Now let's look at elements of self-awareness. What goes into knowing who you are, your strengths and your weaknesses. So the strengths and weaknesses, they tell us about what you can do and what you cannot do. Your temperament. Temperament tells how you feel and respond to situations. There are 5 basic temperaments. I do not have the time to go into it. So you can just use Google if you don't know yet about the temperaments and personalities. We have sanguine, we have melancholy, we have choleric, we have supine, and we have phlegmatic. They tell how you feel and respond to situations. Your values and your principles, they ground you and serve as your anchor. Your life purpose, it helps you find meaning in life and sets your direction. And then what people think about you helps you identify your blind spots. So these 5, they contribute to who you are: strengths, weaknesses, temperament, values, life purpose, and what people think about you. So in my professional self-discovery programs I run, I take participants through a series of questions in these 5 areas. And after that, we do some synthesis to bring out the self in a person, because you can't live a self you don't know. You can't live out the part of you that you are not aware of. Even if you are accidentally living that, you'll say it's an issue of faith. So how to maximize and rather be in control instead of just reacting, you will lose the ability to take charge and control a tool you have inside you. So self-awareness is extremely very important as we move into the world. Self-leadership. You see, with COVID, where nations were forced to just concentrate and lead their people, lead world leaders, national leaders, the same way individually, we had to protect ourselves from COVID. So we had to pick up habits that we were not used to, drop out some of the habits, hand handshakes. Now, African society, you hardly see somebody shake hands. Hand washing frequently has to be learned. The use of hand sanitizers, nose masks, everything was about protecting yourself. So going into the world, you need to lead yourself. Ownership of your self-leadership. When you know who you are, you will know what you can and should do. And that's about self-leadership. I know who I am. I can do this. This is what I should do. And you pay attention to it. So closely linked to self-awareness is self-leadership as we go beyond COVID. And let's look at situational intelligence. Situational intelligence answers the question, where exactly am I? What is happening around me? Where I am? Where am I? What is happening around me? That's what situational intelligence talks about. Let's look quickly at 6 categories of situational intelligence. One is location intelligence, where you are right now. Your school right now. What do you know about the place? After school, you come out, you have a job, your workplace, the exact location. What do you know about the place? What exists there? What are the assets? What are the opportunities? What are the limitations? Location intelligence. The building in which you are right now while listening to me, what knowledge do you have of it? Your school, what knowledge? Location intelligence. Your job, when you get a job, the physical structure, where the job is located, the town the job is located, what do you know about it? You see, sometimes when I'm reviewing job applications and the CVs to say this person is most qualified, one thing we look out for is the prospective employee's knowledge of the company, not only the work. Some people focus on knowledge of the company and forget that, and then they only pay attention to knowledge of the job. You are coming to work in an institution. So knowledge of the physical location. Then environmental intelligence, the whole environment, the science of the environment, what thrives, what doesn't, the seasons, they are all important. The environmental intelligence. Then we have machine intelligence. This has to talk about, has to do with technology. Machine intelligence, where you are, the work you are doing, the program you are studying. How can technology make it easier or better? So after school, the job, how can technology make it easier? Even in school now, you have to start stimulating your mind. What technology, what machine, what else can make the work I do better? And you start, even if it is not part of your program, you start gaining some knowledge and insight in that field, in that direction. It is adding to you in your overall knowledge base in surviving in the era in which we are. So machine intelligence. Then 4, social intelligence. The people, way of life of the people around you, the interactions of people. What are people becoming now? Are people becoming less interactive or more? Are people becoming more empathetic or less? Are people becoming friendlier or less? Are people coming together or they are less coming together? Are people being nicer or they are not? So the social intelligence is equally key in your preparations to survive COVID. Then we have operational intelligence. The way things operate, the various chains that come together for your work to be complete, for the overall objective of your organization or your job, your task, how things interact, processes, departments, and all of that at your workplace. You need to know that. So as you are studying and preparing yourself for the job market, HR, always, every organization have that. Do you have some knowledge about HR, accounting? Do you have some knowledge? Small, no matter how small. So a little bit of them, you know that, okay, for the place I am holding in this chain, I need to work with this, I need to work with this, I need to work with this department, that department, the operation, the overall operational procedures for getting things done. Then once you figure out the operational intelligence, then business intelligence. When you are employed into a business. How do businesses operate? How do they survive? The business operation procedure. When you know all this, you are putting yourself in a situation where it becomes easier for you to flow and function with all the things in your environment. So this knowledge, location intelligence, environmental intelligence, machine intelligence, social intelligence, operational intelligence, and business intelligence, they help you to be self-aware, to be aware of where you are, to critically know what is happening around you, and then to now function more effectively in that environment. So, like I said, two things needed for us to succeed post-COVID: self-awareness, physical, situational intelligence. Why? Because the ultimate now is, what can you do with who you are at where you are now? We are here. COVID has come to stay. We are here. You are in school. What can you do with who you are, your awareness of self and where you are, your awareness of your environment, the situation in which you are, at what time, now, today, in 5 years, after the workplace? So this is why self-awareness is key. And I will encourage all of you, spend more time with yourself, spend more time to ask yourself, is there a part of me I'm not aware of yet? Is there an ability or a skill that I have that I don't know or I'm not paying attention to? How more can I be? What else can I create? What more value can I add to myself, to the education I'm receiving in the university, the program I'm studying? How much more can I be? When you figure all that out, where am I? What exists in my environment? What is the situation in which I am? So with this open-mindedness of being intentional at knowing who you are, after knowing who you are, the environment in which you find yourself may change, the locations may change. But if you are a person who constantly do situational analysis, it means wherever you find yourself, you will quickly become intelligent in that environment because how things work. And so you have a perfect picture of where you are and what is happening, the situation. You already know who you are. And so the question comes, what can I do with who I am, where I am at this time? I believe for the next 5, 10, 20 years, this question is going to be the door opener for a lot of opportunities that will come. And the lack of this question will shut doors to a lot of people. The choice is always with us. What can you do with who you are, where you are now? You are in school. What can you do? After school, what can you do? When we approach life this way, the next year We will always be ready because we have an open mind of who we are and the situation around us. We can't finish talking about preparation for COVID, how to live in the world post-COVID in a day. For today, this is what I have to share with you. I want to thank you all so much for the opportunity to be here with you again. And if there are some questions, Buama can take over and then we address them. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, our speaker. This has been very educative and interesting. What can you do with who you are at where you are now? That's an intriguing question for all of us. Now, the floor is open for questions. And then our speaker or anybody who wants to make any contributions to what has been said so far, please, you can send the questions to the page or raise your hands and you'll be called. Thank you. From Ife says, God bless you so much, sir. Davis to say thank you, sir. Please, questions are welcome. We have about 5 minutes for the questions and we'll wrap up. Thank you. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, Mr. Speaker, let me ask.
I see a hand up.
Hello. Yeah, my hand is up. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Please go ahead. Your name and please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Ebenezer Nixon Nikwe from Nanjing. I don't have a question today, but I think I didn't join in early too, but the latter part I heard was very informative. So I'm asking, can we always have the PPTs of the presenters and we always see recording in progress? Can we have the recordings also on all the hall pages so we can review on our own and then try to pick up the things we forget during the lecture? Because I think these are very good information. So the PPTs, please, on all the hall pages and the recordings. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for that. We would speak to the relevant or the appropriate authorities and then, yes, please.
Yes, please. With regards to the recordings, they are being posted on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. So for all the programs that we had in the past, you can check NUGS-CHINA YouTube page, and they are all posted there. Thank you. For the PPT, we would talk to the resource persons and see how best we can deal with that. Thank you.
Okay, there's a question from Ms. Lydia. She said, how do I identify myself? Mr. Speaker, can you help us with that? How do I identify myself, from Lydia?
Okay, so as I mentioned, self-discovery, self-awareness has to do with your strengths, your weaknesses. So simple, just make time, sit down with the book, and then ask yourself, so far, what do I consider, what do I see as my strength? Things I am good at naturally. Without training, I'm able to do them. List as many as you can. Then what are the things I have a challenge with, weaknesses? Maybe in your study, the areas you are having challenges with, you list all of them. Then you go to values. What are my life principles? Principles or values or things that I won't compromise for any reason, because they are your pillars. Your values and your principles, they hold you, they keep you on track. So you need to know them. If you don't have, if you have not, you'll find it difficult to identify them. Spend more time. I would have said, get a professional life coach, because there are tools we use. We take people through all this, and at the end of the day, the picture becomes clear, but you can still start and do it on your own. So after the values, your life purpose. Why am I here? What have I come to do here? How do you answer that? You go in and ask yourself, what am I so passionate about that I'll be willing to do it for free? what is there about you now that always you find yourself going back to do it, and when you do it, you get a sense of satisfaction deep inside of you that it's difficult to explain, quantify, and no amount of money can replace that to you. Is there a hunger in the world you are here to feed? Is there something in your environment, society, in the world that when you see it being done, you get angry, and so you are moved to do something about it. And anytime you do something about it, you are satisfied and the anger leaves. These are questions that reveal who you are to you. And then the final one will be to get some colleagues or friends, people whose opinions you trust, people who are fair, and people who have your interests at heart, to give you feedback. The questions you've asked yourself: what are the things you feel I'm so good at? You see me do so well. What are the weaknesses you have seen? Is there something about me that you think I'm not yet aware and you would like to share with me? You pick those feedback from the people. Bear in mind, you don't give that task to just anybody. The people have to be qualified. How do you qualify them? They are objective, trustworthy, and they have your growth at heart. So when you pick this feedback from them, you compare with what you have written down by yourself, and you analyze and see how they are related. The places where there is disagreement, you spend time to observe yourself, and then you ask some other people for confirmation. That's how you go through. It's a process that is needed. Even if you spend 1 month to discover who you are, it will help you for so many years. If you don't spend that time to know who you are, you will live a life that will not look like you, and that will be a disservice to yourself. Buana.
Okay, thank you very much. There's another question from Davis, which says, some people do not trust the factors they use to identify themselves. In such a situation, what can we do, sir? Let's speak over to you.
If you don't trust the factors that you use, is he personally doing it? If it's personally, it's always good. The best is to get a professional to help you. So get a professional life coach, not the one who says I am, a professionally trained life coach. There are tools to use to help you identify who you are. And those tools, they are tried, tested, and they work. So if it is, say, by yourself, you are trying to identify who you are and you don't trust them, then get a professional who has proven systems to help you to know who you are. If I've not answered the question, then probably the question isn't too clear. You can ask, and then I would elaborate.
Okay, there's another question from Mary, organizer. She says, how do I develop a positive mindset and appreciate myself when it comes to identifying myself, my weakness, in brackets? Thank you.
Okay. So when it comes to, for weaknesses, we all have it. Everybody has a weakness. There's no perfect human being. For some of us, some people, some people focus more on their weaknesses, such as trying to outdo their weaknesses, trying to upgrade or get out of their weaknesses while leaving their strength behind. The advice is focus on developing your strengths. Your weaknesses, they are there. They are things you are weak at. You have to know them and know that this is a weak area of my life. And no matter how much you try to grow in your weaknesses, you can never outgrow in your weaknesses than your strength. For example, let's take the lady, is it Lucy, the one who said she learned cooking, more cooking skills and recipes. Say cooking is something natural to you. It's a strength. And then playing football is a weakness to you. And then she says oh, on a scale of 0 to 10, my cooking is about 7. On a scale of 0 to 10, my ability to play football is about 4. And that's bad. I want to grow in my ability to play football. And so she spent a lot of time to train and increases her ability to play football by 3 points. So if it was 4, 4 plus 3 is 7. If she spent even half the time to develop or grow in her ability to cook by 2 points, 2 plus 7 is 9. So it makes better sense to focus on developing or growing in your areas of strength than paying attention, being fixated about your weaknesses. So developing the positive mindset, it's about you accepting the fact that both your strengths and your weaknesses, they are part of who you are. You can't undo so many things about yourself. You can't. So where is most profitable to spend your time is in your strength. You focus there, you grow in that area. The weaknesses, know them, but don't be fixated about them, because the more attention you pay to them, the more you are denying yourself growth in your area of strength. And that is who you are. Accept it that way. Love yourself. You are you. And that is how the mindset too will change and embrace you, and you carry it along in every area of your life.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, David says, thank you. My question is answered. Abasham says, excellent presentation. Victor says, after knowing yourself and identifying and determining your values, you find yourself in an environment, bracket workplace, country, career, bracket close, that you feel is against your values. How best can you deal with it? After knowing yourself and determining your values, you find yourself in an environment, either your workplace, country, or career, that you feel is against your values. How best can you deal with it? Mr. Speaker, over to you.
All right, Victor, if you listened from the beginning, there was a point I said, don't prepare for a job, prepare for the world. Don't prepare for a job, prepare for the world. When you go about your education with a world view in mind, preparing yourself for the world, I know this situation, almost all of us will experience it one way or the other, where we are working in a workplace, a country, a career, that there is a conflict with our values. You have one of two options. Is there anything you can do to effect change where you are? Your situational intelligence tells you where you are. Your self-awareness tells you who you are. Can you use who you are to effect some change where you are? The systems there, can you effect a change? If you can, start small and gradually it will come, one person at a time, to effect a change in that environment. If it is not possible to effect a change in that environment, the question is, how negatively is that going to affect you? If it is going to affect you negatively, you develop yourself, you prepare yourself for the world. So start looking for opportunities beyond where you are now. Look for opportunities and move. If you don't move, and I'm very intentional in saying that you first try to make a change. If you feel the system is such that you can't make a change, you can't make a change there, then you will need to move. If you don't move, what happens is that the frustrations of the system, the frustrations of the workplace or the career, they begin to weigh you down. They begin to create a void inside you where the job you do, the work you do will be of no meaning to you. And that's the beginning of a lot of problems in your personal, social, and work life. It comes from here, it goes there. So even the time you spend, the quality time you spend with your own family will be affected because you go to work, you are frustrated by the work, you come home, and then you come and dump the frustration at home. Your relationship with people, your relationship with everyone is affected. This is why I said you first do your situational analysis. Can I effect a change where I am? Honestly, with the knowledge of who you are, can I, no matter how small, can you effect a change? If you can, then you start small and then expand it. But if you realize it's a system where you have absolutely no control, absolutely no way of influencing change, then you need to move. And the moving, you look at a place or a system where there is flexibility to create a change. There is flexibility to do beyond what is on paper as your job description, where you can try and do something for yourself. Now, if it is not possible to change, what do you do? If you have other talents and abilities, and from your self-awareness, you realize what your life purpose is, and probably the work you are doing, that environment is not satisfying you on the inside, it's not filling you up as something you are doing in pursuit of your life purpose. Begin to exercise or express your life purpose in other areas. Maybe something that fits you up, your life purpose is, say, charity. You may not do it at your workplace, but find an outlet for that passion, find an outlet for that life purpose. It may not be at your workplace, but at other places, maybe at church or social gatherings or other engagements you have. Either way, find a way to live out your life purpose or express some passion you have. If not, passion is an emotion. It stays inside you, it's locked like a caged dog, and then it begins to fight with you on the inside. So I have given 3 things. If you can make a change, you do. If you can't make a change, you move. If you can't move, then find other small ways of expressing your passion or your life purpose. It can be gathering some people. If it is teaching, you may not have to teach at your workplace, but you can organize some programs even online and live out your teaching passion. If it is cooking, whatever the passion is, as you express that, you are feeding yourself. So it reduces the frustration that the job or the system will have in you. And then you can keep going. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's been interesting. And in that, Mary says thank you. We are wrapping up, and we are right within time. If there are no other questions, we are wrapping up. There are no hands up. There are no questions. Then we shall call upon Ms. Felicia Otrebia Osei for announcement. Ms. Felicia, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, can I be heard?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. And then, first of all, we thank God so much for making this program a success. Then also a big thank you to our resource person for such a wonderful presentation. We've all learned a lot, which will definitely help us in our life now and then the years ahead of us. Also, a big thanks to all the NUGS-CHINA executives and also the executives of ZHENGZHOU and then Nanchang for their collaboration. Last but not the least, thank all of you for being part of this program. Even though we're on vacation and then most of us want to rest, or some of us may have very busy schedules working or doing other stuffs, but then we still took some time to be part of this program. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Secretary. Before we bring this to a close, let's acknowledge some few people. Our National President, Madam Irene Koko, is here. We have Salom, Secretary General. We have Millicent, National Ucom. We have the Sector, forgive me, and then the various chapter presidents also here. And then we have Alexander, immediate past ZHENGZHOU president. And then I think we have is it the EC chair? Yes. So once again, thank you very much, everybody. Before we close, let's call upon Mr. Opoku, the Pius, Mr. Opoku Pius for the closing prayer. Mr. Pius, if you are
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much. Please let's be in a mood of prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you this evening for our Father brought us. We thank you for this successful meeting. We thank you for the knowledge that you gave to our resource person to impart into our life. Father, we thank you. You bless your names. You've heard so many things. Father, we pray that Lord, continue to guide us. Let us identify our ideas so that anything that you do to glorify your name. Father, as we are living here, we are not living under your presence. Continue to guide us, protect us. Those who are going to sleep, Lord, we pray for a sound sleep. May you be with them. Those who are also at work, Lord, may you be with them. Protect us and lead us not into temptation. Father, these are many more we ask through our Lord Jesus Christ, who live and reign with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Father, do not lead us into temptation. Very powerful prayer. Now, thank you all. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we've been within time. Thank you so much. DJ.